Wish they would. I can't blame them, but I just wish they would release more stuff here. But if there's no sales, there's no sales. So can't get what you want.
Buy Atlas products, people.
Yes, please. You're supporting Sega. Sonic. There you go.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex, come on.
He knows. He's fine. He's getting Atlas stuff. I'm not worried about Alex.
Let's talk about the release. The game came out in Japan on January 18th, 2007. In North America on May 15th. Europe got a release June 6th, 2008. Australia, August 14th, 2008. SEA?
I want to say that's Korea, but I could be mistaken. Or South America. I don't know.
Sometime in Southeast Asia. Sometime in 2008. I wish that it would tell me more on that one, but let's get to these sales. On the DS, it got 0.33 million total. In Japan, it was 0.09 million. In North America, it was 0.19 million. In Europe, it was 0.03 million, and everything else is 0.02 million. So, pretty low. I'm actually surprised that it did better in America than in Japan. Obviously, America has a much bigger population, but I still am surprised that it did better.
I'm not. I think the DS was a household name for a lot of people alongside the Wii. Like Brain Age was like the game that like made the DS popular. So Etrian Odyssey probably became like a new thing for people to try on the system. Sales are not phenomenal. What is that, 200,000 across the whole states?
Yep,
But
200.
no, I mean something. That means it didn't even sell 100K in Japan. It sold 90,000. Wow.
Yeah.
I know this is not the right place to ask this, but do you understand on VG charts like what the table is below those numbers, like 1 to 10?
I assume it's has something to do with time after release.
I think
I
it's
don't.
by week, yeah, because I think it's the first week in Japan, it sold 30,000 units. And I think that correlates, and they just don't have that data for the other countries.
Gotcha. The 3DS remake didn't do much better.
Worse.
It sold point. Actually, didn't do. Yeah, it did worse. I'm more interested in the Japan versus North America thing, but it did 0.26 million total. I do question some of this. I always have questions on more modern releases because a lot of this is digital. I don't know if they're taking into account the digital nature because at this point the 3DS had a huge digital store that was pretty commonly used. So I don't know if that takes that into account. But total sales in Japan were 0.14 million and North America was zero point 0.1. Europe was 0.01 and others were 0.01. I think in the DS the Etrian Odyssey is the first one was the only one that was. I think like 2 wasn't. I don't even think 2 was even released in Europe. We'll probably get into that at some point later. But it does not. If that's the case, it does not surprise me because these
Yeah.
numbers are so bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, Terry. You didn't buy it. You don't get it.
Doesn't care. He doesn't like the 3DS.
Yeah, sure he didn't care. Um, Metacritic was
Are you
semi-favorable.
going into reviews?
Yeah, yeah.
Before we get into that, can I
Yeah.
just tackle this a little bit?
Yeah.
So, another interesting footnote is that across the entirety of the Etrian Odyssey series, a total of 1.5 million units have been sold.
Oh my god. And there's a lot.
There are a lot. There are 5 mainline games, maybe 6 if you count Nexus.
Yeah.
There's no, Nexus is a spin-off. Mystery Dungeon 1 and 2 are spin-offs. So it's like 8 games. I mean, just average, it's like 200,000, like each, 250, 300. So Not a good sign of things to come. Honestly, it's impressive. Untold did as good as it did, given that it's basically the same game as came out 6 years before. There are additions and things like the story mode, but maybe Japan, because they missed out on it on the first time, they wanted to experience the 3DS one. And in North America, we just didn't care. Also, Untold came out after Etrian Odyssey 4. So whereas 4 was more of a unique new experience, the Untold was the first game, which even if there are diehard fans, they probably had already played. And I don't know if they were itching to go back into the same labyrinth of the first game.
Yep, that's a good point. Like, hey, do you want to take all the great things we did with 4, like pushing the series forward, and just remove them? There we go. The game was received pretty well, just like the one of the creators said, despite being only for a couple people. It's there seems to be some discrepancies here. Maybe there's an issue with the way that VG Charts is reporting these, because according to Famitsu, they sold 120,000 copies in Japan as of July 1st, 2007. We do the best we can with the data we have.
Yeah.
And either way, it's still pretty low. The game received favorable reviews. Although the title is recognized as accomplishing its goals in terms of presenting a very classic RPG experience, it was noted that this greatly limits its appeal to a certain hardcore demographic. IGN noted, if you gave this game to 10 players, you may find 1 or 2 in the group that truly enjoy it. GamePro said, ultimately this one is for fans of the genre and not for the short on time.
I feel like that's an unfair complaint.
How so?
I mean, Elden Ring isn't for the short on time either.
That's a very good point. I think there were more... Yeah, I think that was poorly worded. Because you'll make time for things you like. I think it's... I think the first sentence was better from IGN. It's more for a very, like you said, a niche group that are going to like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess gamers at that time are like Xbox 360 bronies and looking to push the boundaries. Like, yeah, bro, like let's hit me up on Call of Duty, and it's like out of 10 people, then 9 are gonna play Halo or Call of Duty or whatever. And how many are gonna want to play a hardcore dungeon crawler? In 2007, would I have wanted that? I don't even know.
I didn't want it. I didn't want it.
I might have played Pokemon, my thing was my 360 at that time, as a in the early 2000s. Now is when I think something like this is thriving a little more. We've seen a lot of the state of the art stuff and are looking to experience some of those niche retro classics.
OneUp.com, I remember them. They said Etrian Odyssey will definitely appeal more to the OCD'd than the ADD'd. I don't know what that means. And it's punishing difficulty and very deliberate pacing may turn off younger gamers who grew up on flashier role players, but it offers a real sense of wonder and a sense of accomplishment, feelings missing from far too many modern games.
I feel like the only way you would play something like this is if you had to. Like if you were part of a gaming publication. And then you would recognize like, oh yeah, this is really cool.
But it is your job to tell people that you might not like it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. OCD'd. If you feel like you have to map every single wall, I guess. No.
And then ADD has a short attention span. Is that what that's trying to say?
I guess. Still, weird comment.
Yeah.
2007 reviews. Don't go back. Don't read them. That's rough. Yeah. These do not hold up well.
You ready to talk about the game?